Hey everybody, welcome to another math video. So for this video, I'll be talking about combinations and permutations. Okay, so here we go. So these are things we'll be doing. Okay. So first of all, what's the difference between combinations and permutations? So in combinations, there's no particular order you want your groups to be in, whereas in permutations, there is a particular order or specific rules that you want to fill. And then there's these things called special permutations, which we'll talk about last. So I know it doesn't make much sense now, but once we get into the explanations and more particularly the examples, they'll make a lot more sense. Okay, so let's start with the combinations formula. And this is it. This is the formula for combinations, and you're thinking, wow, that's a mess. Okay, so this n here is your total number of things, while this r here is the size of groups you want to create. And then the exclamation point you've seen in my other video for factorials, because that means factorial. And if you need a refresher, check out that video. Again, that was the video on factorials. Okay, so let's see how this is used. So here's an example. You're going on a trip and you want to take some reading material with you. We have 10 books that you haven't read yet, and how many combinations of 3 books can you make from your collection? So how do you know this is a combination and not a permutation? Well, remember what I said earlier. Permutations, there's a specific rule or particular order that you're going to put the things in. So in this case, it doesn't say that you're putting the books in any particular order, just that you're taking 3. So that's what makes this a combination. So we're going to start with this. So n is 10 because that's how many total books you have, or that we're talking about in this case. And C is, R is 3 because that's the size of the group you want to make. So wherever you see n, you put in your n. Wherever you see r, you put in your r. Okay, so we have this. Okay, so I'm going to simplify this. It turns into that, and the next step I'll expand this so you can see what's going on. Okay, so again, if you're not sure where this came from, go ahead and check out my factorials video. Okay, so what I'll do next is I'll simplify. So you can see here this 7 factorial cancels out this 7 factorial, leaving me with what's here. And from here I'll reduce that one more time. And then from here I'll just multiply that out. Alright, so it's pretty straightforward, nothing too heavy. It is a bunch of canceling out. Okay. So permutations, the formula for that looks pretty similar to the combinations formula. So n is still n, r is still r. The main difference is it doesn't have that extra r factorial that you saw in the combinations formula. Okay? Because in this case, it's not going to be quite as randomized as the combinations. Okay, so here's an example. You have 9 candidates running for the offices of President, Vice President, Secretary, and Treasurer. How many different ways can the candidates be voted in? So, how do you tell this is a permutation versus a combination? In this case, you have certain rules that you want to fill. Okay, so that makes this a permutation. Remember what I just mentioned on the previous slide, or earlier slide I should say. Permutations are used when you're when you're filling specific roles or there's a particular order. So the order one, the easiest example to give for that would be like in a race. How many ways can the runners come in first, second, and third? So a particular order, or in this case, for this example, specific roles. So that's what makes this one a permutation, that we're filling in specific roles. So we'll start off like this. So our n is 9 because we have a total of 9 people. And our r is 4 because we're filling 4 roles. Okay, that's the size of the group. Okay, so again, wherever you see n, that's where you put your n. Wherever you see r, that's where you put your r. So I'm going to simplify this. And then I'll expand. And cancel So you can see this 5 factorial down here, cancel out with this 5 factorial up here. And now I'll just multiply this out, simplify it, and there's our final result. Okay, pretty simple. And I hope it's straightforward. Okay, now we come to the special permutations. So the special permutations have a different formula also, and this one is slightly different. N is still n. The new thing we have here is the k. Okay, so remember I mentioned special permutations are used for when things repeat. So you'll see groups of repeated items. Okay, so what does this look like in a problem? Let's go into an example you can see. Okay, so how many unique words can be spelled using letters from the word Mississippi? Okay, so this one's a special permutation we're going to be doing because you see there's repeated letters in this one. Okay, so here's me setting up the formula, or setting up the ratio. So on top is our n, and I remember n is the total amount of things. So Mississippi has a total of 11 letters. Okay, now we'll go through each of the letters, and we'll see which ones repeat. So starting off with the first one, m. There's only one m, so that would be a 1 factorial, and 1 factorial simplifies to 1, so we can just leave that out. So the next letter is I, and we can see we got 4 i's, so that's where this 4 factorial came from. Okay, next letter is S, we got 4 s's, so that's another 4 factorial, which is where this one came from. We already did I and S, and so that leaves the p's. So we got 2 p's, that's where this 2 came from. Okay, so now what we'll do is I'll expand these, and then I'll cancel out. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do this canceling out in one step. Leaves me with this, and from here I'll just simplify this out, and I get this. Okay, so we can have a total of 34,650 words. It's just words. That includes nonsense words, not necessarily just regular words. Okay, and that's how we use the special permutation. Okay, alright, so to sum it all up, combinations, they're used when there's no specific order specified. Permutations are used when there is a specific order or when you want to fill in roles. And special permutations are used when you have repetition. Okay, well, I hope that was pretty straightforward, and I hope I was able to help make sense of these different things. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for tuning in, and check out my next video coming out soon.